Hi landlords, so this is one of the first videos in the series that I mentioned in the introduction video into why I don't think it's wise for landlords to be self-managing their property in 2019 and going forward. And the first thing I want to talk to you about is deposit registration. So since 2015, all deposits have to be registered with an approved scheme. There's one of three schemes: My Deposits, TDS, Tenancy Deposit Service, and the DPS, the Deposit Protection Service, which is what we use at our agency. Not only do you have to register the deposit and register it with an approved scheme within a certain timescale of receiving it, but you also have to serve documentation that goes along with that registration. One of those things is the prescribed information, and there's also a set of terms and conditions that goes along with that prescribed information. And these documents must be served on the tenant within a certain timescale. The deposit must be registered and protected within a certain timescale. And if you don't know these timescales and you don't know this information, then you can really fall foul of this legislation. There's fines of up to 3 times the deposit for not having protected it properly and not having served the correct documentation. And further than that, the more severe consequence is if you haven't done this at the start of the tenancy, then you can't serve the Section 21 notice, which is the notice which will help you to recover possession of your property should you want it back. So trying to save a bit of money on doing that yourself, yes, you can do it yourself if you know how to do it and you know the documents you need to serve and you know the timescales. But there's lots of things you can do in life that aren't necessarily wise for you to do. So unless you have intricate knowledge of the deposit regulations, you should be using an agent to do this stuff for you. Because you can avoid the fine of the deposit, 3 times the deposit, and with deposit levels, that's quite a hefty fine just for not doing something within a certain timescale and just for not serving one piece of paperwork. But more to the point, as I say, you can't then serve a Section 21 if you haven't properly protected the deposit. And by properly protected, I mean registering it with a scheme, serving the prescribed information, and serving the terms and conditions that go along with that scheme. You also have these issues at contract renewal where the deposit then needs to be re-registered if it's with certain schemes, and that prescribed information served again, something which we do as part of our process, but it's something that's really important to know. It's not a one-time thing. You need to make sure that the deposit is always properly protected. So that's just one thing that we as an agent do for you, is handle your deposits correctly, handle your money correctly, and protect you from those fines, and ultimately make sure that you can get possession of your property back if you need to. So that's just one thing. Keep watching and stay tuned for some other videos that I'm going to be making in this series of why I don't think it's wise for landlords to be managing their own property in this day and age, and I look forward to bringing you the next subject.